I see the show?
Oh, you want to watch it?
Yeah.
Hi, and welcome to the
Wow,
live
you're
signing
good.
of Liars. Huh? Tonight, you have Stu Bergier. Pat Gray is joining us, but Pat's going to be giving us live updates on the...
And I'm proud of him. He was actually watching it a few minutes
Yes, he
ago.
was.
Yes.
He was praying for anyone, even Black Lives Matter organizers, to come on screen, anything that would stop the pain of what?
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change nonsense. Anything, please stop this is really hard to watch, but it's kind of appropriate on the night we're doing the Liars signing. We're watching the Liars
climate change.
convention.
Yeah.
It's great.
So those of you
It's
that are
almost
watching...
as if we planned it that
Almost.
way.
So those of you that are watching on Facebook, if you want to participate and get a question asked, you can go to buyliars.com, right? Buyliars.com, and you can buy a book and ask a question. Yeah, do that. Those of you that are already here, you can ask your question. Oh, my gosh, I'll ask it for you. Glenn, do you think the early progressives had any idea at all, that their philosophy would reach this current destructive level that's eroding our freedoms?
Yes. That was the plan. That's what they did. They don't see it as destructive, but they do see it as eroding your freedoms. They thought your freedoms were bad. They thought the Soviet Union was right. They thought Mussolini was right. And they really just, I don't think they thought it would take this long. Do you? I never understood why Teddy Roosevelt was on the Mount Rushmore, because I mean he was such a new president. Yes, he was a good president, but I mean he didn't do anything remarkable. He was a tough guy. He did do the national parks, but that's enough to be with Lincoln and Jefferson and Washington. The reason why he was there is because he's the father of the new America. The America that we live in today, I am absolutely convinced we live now in America 2.0, and we're not getting the America that we understood back.
Is that just a Glenn Beck, these things fit together? Or is it that from history, that's why they put him on the mountain?
No, I think they put him on the mountain because he was a national parks guy, but also probably because I haven't done any homework on that.
Okay, that was the first one then of my two options. It was a Glenn Beck, I'm making this up because it kind of sounds right, and now I'm going to check into it later thing.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
But I will tell you.
But it does sound
that's
right.
not what's in this book.
No, it isn't. No.
What's in this book are Glenn Beck things that I said maybe, I don't know, in private maybe 2 years ago, and then we were like, we should look into that. And so then
and then you did, and then
we did,
now
and
it's
then we
in this
found.
book.
And Pat and I were talking. I'm so excited for this book to come out. Pat and I were talking. These are not stories. A lot of times you'll buy a Glenn Beck book and you're like, oh, I've heard half of these stories. I don't think you've heard any of these stories. I don't think we've.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, we've not said any of these stories. It's been really hard to keep quiet on it because they are such great stories. Such great stories.
So many secrets from Robert in Odessa, Texas, from the American greatness are inside the baby boomer generations. Living by principles and values, how can we tap that power and transfer it to the younger Americans?
I think the most important thing that adults can do, I mean, Ellen, what was it we were talking about the other day? It's doing a September 11th show, right? We're going to do a show on September 11th, and we're going to bring people who are 60 plus, people who are in their 40s, people who are 30, and then people who are in college. And we're going to ask them, what do you remember about September 11th? And what do you know about our country? And it's shocking. People who are in college now were 3, 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'd have no recollection. I said this at a staff meeting the other day. I said, how many people here have never known our country not at war? Like half the room raised their hands. They've never known a country not in war. So the best thing that people can do, and it's why I am hyper-focused on the books that I'm going to be writing I'm going to write a history book similar to this, but this has history, but it also has psychology in it. It's why does it work and how can we beat it? But I think we need to start telling history, writing our own histories down. I think people need to write a diary, everything that you can remember about America, and keep it, store it, protect it, give it to your children and your grandchildren. The most important, you're not saving the country as we know it. It's already gone. Now the question is, can we plant it deep enough into our kids and our grandkids so they will understand it and be able to restore it at a future time?
And a quick reminder that your job tonight is not saving the world. It's writing your name a lot of times. You got a lot of books there, so don't.
Then stop asking me questions.
Just keep signing. Just keep signing. Those of you watching on Facebook Live, you can go to buyliars.com, buy a book, ask a question, have it asked. Talking about everybody saving their notes and writing their stories. What other 2 books are you going to write before you die? Which is hopefully, according to Judith, going to be 100 years from now.
I'm getting a much lower estimate.
Does anybody here really want to live through another 100 years of this?
I don't even think you're praying for another 100 years.
No. Personally, I'm not praying for another 100 minutes. There's 2 that I've talked about. One is the media book, What I Learned from Media, the true story, but that will be published upon my death. But I had an idea just a little while ago of a new Citizen Kane that I'd like to do. I am going to write. We're going to find some historians that actually have the credentials, and we're going to write, as I call it, history is written by the losers, because we're the losers, and all of this history is going to be erased. I mean, right behind Pat, look on that wall, is a headdress. That is an Indian headdress. It is from the early 1900s. That is from the Second American Tea Party. We think that we're the Tea Party now, and we're just doing this, and that's kind of original. That's not true. Did you guys know we even had a big Tea Party movement the first time the progressives reared their ugly heads?
No.
No.
I think so.
No.
Instead of dressing up as patriots, they dressed up as Native Americans. They didn't even know that. If you remember the year we all marched on Washington, that didn't make it into Time's 100 Moments of the Year.
Right.
That should have been the cover. It didn't even make it. They will erase all of this from history, and Barack Obama and everybody else is going to be remembered as great, wonderful FDR people. Look at how Lyndon Johnson and Woodrow Wilson are remembered. You read the stuff in here on Woodrow Wilson and Lyndon Johnson, your teeth will fall out.
Well, and FDR too, who was a terrible president. I mean, he
Horrible.
He fundamentally transformed America, and he's remembered by historians as the greatest president.
But you know what? FDR is remembered as the big government guy.
Yeah.
And as you'll read in this book and next week on our serials,
LBJ is even bigger.
oh my gosh, he
Oh,
had
man,
43
Talk about
government.
a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
He had 43 government agencies, 43 that were welfare or handouts. 43. We had 390 with Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
And FDR is the guy who fundamentally transferred. No. He moved the ball,
Yeah.
and he changed a lot. But remember, after FDR left, came the great boom of America, where we were at the zenith of strength of America. And he changed us a lot, but it was FDR. I mean, it was Lyndon Johnson that really killed us.
Well, because I mean, you've talked about this for a long time, how much you hate, like Woodrow Wilson, for example. But Woodrow Wilson did the very difficult work of pushing, the truck up the hill and got it to the top and started pushing it onto the other side. People like Lyndon Johnson pushed it a lot further, a lot faster.
Well,
it's hard to get the ball rolling.
Woodrow Wilson was the guy who not only got the ball rolling, he's the guy who designed the road that was going to be rolling on. He's the guy who developed the structure, the the idea. Okay, good. We want to move this rock. Okay, here's how we move it. And he knew it's going to take a lot longer than my lifetime to move it. And so he's the one who laid the framework that that has been running since then.
It's harder too, right?
Oh, it's
I mean, harder than what Lyndon Johnson did or what Barack Obama has done.
here's why it's hard. Americans don't want a long-term strategy. They want action right now. You couldn't do on the right. I've said this a million times. Guys, we need to reverse progressivism. You're not going to just get everybody to vote for the Constitution because they don't even know it anymore. We have to pick certain things in certain areas and say, okay, in education, in culture, in government agencies, in law enforcement, and all these things, and pick the 5 things that we can roll back in the next 5 years and start the ball rolling with a 20-year plan. Technology will allow us to move this ball down the road a lot faster. We can do in 20 years what they took 100 years to do. But somebody's got to have a strategy, and somebody has to take the money to do it. The problem is, A, all of the Tea Party stuff was funded by individuals in $10, $20, $30 donations. Well, those people aren't spending their money anymore because they don't believe it. They don't believe we can make any change. All of the wealthy people we know, they're not going to do it either because they want to see a return. Give me a return on my investment right now. Guys, here's your return. Your grandchildren may be free.
Yeah,
How's that return?
Whatever. It doesn't.
There isn't a spirit. There is on the left. There isn't a spirit on the right of lives, fortunes, and sacred honor. The people on the left, they'll die for it. The people on the left, they'll kill for it. The people on the left will put all their money into it. The people on the left will put all their time and talent into it. Us? No.
Right. Well, you talk about having a strategy and getting people, but Taylor in North Richland Hills, Texas, wants to know about how to improve the communities and unite everyone when the community disagrees with you and won't even listen. So what happens then? I mean, how do you make that happen? I don't know the answer.
You're not saying. I mean, and that goes to. I mean, this goes to the last point you made too. It's not. You're not saying that people on the right aren't dedicated, are you?
No.
They're just long.
No.
They're not long-term.
We are here. You know how libertarians like herding cats?
Yeah.
You can't get people. I mean, I've talked to some, and you guys know, I in the last month have had, would you say, some of the biggest business minds in the country that agree with us?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not political, business-minded people who believe the same thing. And I sat down with them and I said, okay, how do we get a movement like what Woodrow Wilson did, but instead of being closed, out in the open, no secrets, no nothing, how do we get people to do it? All of them said, you'll never get the business people to do it because the business people will be too scared to put their name on anything because of the political climate. Okay, strike one. 2, they'll want results immediately. Strike 2. And 3, the most important one is they won't follow a structured program. They won't say, like the left, and this is what kind of tears it apart, is the left is used to a big bloated system that usually doesn't work, saying, here's the top-down authority, we're all going this way. Look at the Tea Party. The Tea Party didn't want to answer to anybody. They wanted their own thing. Well, that's really good. It's like Constantine. He got the Council of Nicaea together, and then he killed everybody who didn't believe in the Apostles' Creed. After they said it, okay, now we just kill everybody who doesn't agree with this, and we move forward. Because as horrible as that is, Christianity was doing 100 different things, and they didn't have all of one thing that they could agree on and come together. I don't know. We have to figure out a way to where we can get people who have those certain talents to buy in at a certain level and say, okay, here are the goals. Now, what can you do to further those goals? But the goals have to be coordinated nationally.
While we're here, Jeffy, can you get to the Council of Nicaea questions? Because we're
Oh, well,
probably just
Matt and I were just talking about Constantine
Okay,
earlier
okay,
today.
yeah.
On
And the
somebody
Council of
on
Nicaea.
and on. I can't get it.
And the
enough
Nicene
of it.
down. I have
Creed, we
somebody
picked
on
that
the-
Oh
apart,
my God.
quite extensively.
You,
Michelle, who do we have on the phone?
I hear some talk.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. Where are you from?
I'm actually from Franklin, Tennessee, and actually went down with you to Birmingham for the Never Again.
Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
Last year, which was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm a little, I think you're wonderful. I'm a little overwhelmed that I actually get to talk to you. So
You sound like
but
you
I
don't.
do have a question.
Wait, you don't sound like you're from Tennessee. You sound like you're from like Britain or someplace like that.
No, I'm from down under, mate.
Are you? Oh,
Yes.
it's good that you're. It's good that
Yes,
you're.
I'm one of the convicts from down under.
Wow. How do you like it here?
Oh, I like it. I've been here quite a while. I've married an American and had two American kids, so it's great. Franklin, Tennessee is awesome.
Yeah, I was. I'm kind of sorry that I didn't marry a foreigner, so I could move someplace if things got horrible and went the wrong way.
I've heard you say that before.
I know.
We'll always welcome you down under. You're always welcome down under.
Thank you. Well, you don't have any guns there, so that makes
I
things
know, I love
so
it.
much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
remember they took my dad.
what'd you say?
I remember when they took my dad. They took the weapons, the guns and stuff. I remember when he had to give up his rifle.
Mm.
But
How did he feel about that?
he didn't want to do it. But you had to. So he didn't have any
That's
choice. He
amazing.
didn't hide it under the bed or anything. He just, he did what the government wanted him to do, so he did it. So,
Can you imagine that?
Wow.
How do you think the people in Tennessee would react to that?
well, prior to our primary, I would have said they would get up and and stick with the
Mm.
amendment. But after our primary, I'm not too sure.
I know. I
I'd like
know.
to think we'd stick with the guns, but I'm not too sure anymore.
I'm not either. I feel like I don't know the American people anymore. I used to say with confidence, I know my audience. I used to say with confidence, I know the heartland. I know the farmers. I know the people in the country. We can't necessarily relate on everything, but I know their heart and their spirit, and I know their morals and their values. And then it got down to I know my audience. I don't think I even know my family at this point.
And what are they talking about right now at the DNC?
I'm sorry about that. I read
Ungrab.
the posts on Facebook and everything, and always try and say something positive to you, and because you're my life. I mean, seriously, it's been, I listen to you every moment, just for sanity reasons. So hang in there.
Thank you. You know who could really use this? I mean, a lot is
Ted Cruz.
yes. And I'm going to put
And
a
I heard you say, writing a letter. I started writing one today, so I can send it to you.
really.
I met him in Franklin. Yes, I met him. We went to South Carolina to campaign for him. My daughter and I and another college student, we drove from Franklin to South Carolina to, to go door to door to campaign for him, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
His rally here in Franklin with the pastor that led his dad to the Lord and baptized him when he was 9 was amazing.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
yeah,
it was
yeah. I'm
at the factory in Franklin, Tennessee, and there was not a dry eye. We were crying.
Yeah.
I mean, it was intense.
amazing, amazing. Well, please write that and send. I just put the address up on the screen if you were watching, and send it to me. I mean, I know I called him, and after he gave his speech, and he was a little surprised by how much people hate him now. But I called him and I said, Ted, people don't know this about me. I don't talk about this, but I have to tell you, I mean, this last weekend, I sat at the table and I said to my kids, okay, kids, I know you guys I always come to the table and say, here's what we're going to do. What do you think? I said, I've been trying to think, what can I do to help save the country? And I'm out. I don't have any ideas. I thought I'd ask you guys, do you guys have any ideas? What should we as a family be doing? What should I be doing? My daughter said,
Buy gold.
no, she said, that's a good idea. She said, Dad, I think we should buy the farm next to the ranch, and I think we should, I'm all in for You've done enough. Shut it down. Move away. And I was shocked because she's the New York City dweller.
Yeah.
And I said, no, we're not going to do that, but thank you for the suggestion. Anyway, I told Ted, I said, Ted, I felt really horrible until you stepped to the plate and gave that speech. And to see somebody have courage to take it on and be fearless like that, I know gave hope to millions of people. And he said, well, I don't know about that. And I said, oh, I do, because I feel better. And so if you felt that way, I would just love for you just to jot a note to Ted and tell him, hey, keep your chin up, brother. Thank you for doing it. It's helped me. So.
Yes, and yeah, I have started writing one, and I actually used to live in Dallas, Texas, so I'm about ready to move back to Texas. Have him as senator.
He should. We have a great governor, too, Greg Abbott. So,
Yes.
all right. Thank you so much. God bless.
Shall I ask my question?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jeez, I'm sorry. Wow. Sorry.
Hey, this is why I called you.
All right. All right.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, do you want me to ask? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is a big one, but if you could do a quantum leap back in time, which historical figure would you choose to be, and what decision that person had made that was pivotal back then would you change?
I get to be anybody?
Well, yes. Anybody, any country, any time frame, any time period.
Well, I mean,
except Jesus.
Except Jesus?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I'm not saying that out of disrespect. I just, yeah.
No, I know. Maybe Aaron, and I wouldn't have done the golden calf thing. I don't know. Lincoln, just not go to the theater that night.
I know it. I know it. Yeah.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I would want to exchange places with anyone. I think I would, if I could quantum leap, I would love to eavesdrop on a few people. I would love to meet Bonhoeffer in the days where he was confused and didn't know exactly what to do. I'd like to see the people that we take. I'd like to see Abraham Lincoln when he was struggling with what to do. I'd like to see George Washington when he had just lost New York and he was standing on the shores of New Jersey and he was crying. Everybody mocked him for that, but I'd like to see him. I'd like to see the historic figures as a man, because I think that's the problem we all have. I told Ted, I said, Ted, I think we're living in the times where there's going to be a Churchill, there's going to be a Bonhoeffer, there's going to be a Lincoln, there's going to be a Booker T. Washington. There's going to be these people. And I said, I don't know who you're going to be, whose course you're following. I said, but you may be Churchill right now, where Churchill said these things and both parties didn't want to hear it and they kicked him out. I said, we have to stop looking at ourselves as today, and we have to start looking of how will we be remembered, even if it's just by our family, 40 years from now. It'll get us through the tough times.
Well, my kids will remember Ted Cruz and going to the campaign, and this was their first time to vote in a primary in Tennessee, and they were very proud to,
Wow.
after seeing us at the Franklin and Nashville, to strike the pen for him, and we'll be ready again in 2020, hopefully.
Well, if there are elections, but yes. All right, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for
You bet.
everything.
Hey, Pat, can you give us an
Kathy.
update on what's happening?
Yes, because
Oh, I am in love with this convention tonight. It is, as we're speaking to the woman from Australia, they're talking about gun grab. They've got Mark Kelly on, and then he brought out his wife, Gabby Giffords, and they're talking about gun control and how we got to get the guns. We're all sick of this. Well, of course we're sick of this. I'm sick of people dying in car accidents, too. Are we going to ban cars?
yes,
Can we stop? Are we going to ban cars?
yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Get rid of those nasty things.
Write this in your little stupid calendar that'll be going off. I think by 2030, you won't be able to drive a car on the road.
It's too dangerous.
Dangerous.
Too dangerous.
I don't know if I
You make the mistakes. I
Yeah.
think
I
by
mean, clearly-
2030,
I think
you
that's
will
true.
not be
That's
able to
true
drive a
with
car.
you.
You'll have antique cars like the cars we're driving now. Those antique cars will have to be driven on tracks.
Yeah, or outside. I mean, so outside of the city.
Yeah.
Or
Outside
retrofitted
somewhere.
with
If
the
they can be
new
retrofitted.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's going to be done.
Your personal robot would be able to drive it. Your personal AI would be able to drive it.
I will tell you though, the Star Parade that they're bringing out at the
It's
DNC,
amazing, isn't it?
it eclipses Scott Baio just a little bit. just.
It
a
also
little bit.
the way they produce it. I mean, they move people along, man.
Oh yeah, this thing.
They
is
bring it
moving
in
along.
and out. People in and out. Okay, you're done.
moving
Thank
along.
you. Wave goodbye. Hello. We love
I
you.
have to-
Goodbye. Next.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I don't know if Donald Trump even worked at that. I mean, he saw Scott Baio in an airport. He was like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing next week?"
And then he thought he was done.
Right? Did he make any phone calls to anybody and say, "Hey,
don't know.
come and sing"? I don't know.
Because there are some stars they could have invited.
Well, they
Jon
did.
Voight.
John Voight did the voice work for the videos.
Bruce Willis, right? Isn't Willis a Republican?
Yes.
Or Trump support.
Clint Eastwood, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Clint Eastwood.
I mean, if Donald Trump did a charity event, he would actually be able to get a lot of celebrities.
Yes.
The problem is that they don't like him as a presidential candidate. And
Well,
they're
I
so
think that
terrified
a
of
lot of, I don't even think you have to bring in politics. I think a lot of people just don't like him. They go because
He's
it's a
rich and he's
spectacle.
famous
He's
and-
famous and rich, and you know you're going to get your name in the paper if you're standing next to him.
why so many people want to hang out with Jeff, you know?
Well, but clearly that's
Rich,
true.
he's
Well, that's
suave.
that's more your picture on the post office wall.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, not.
I haven't.
Well, I mean, there is some newspaper coverage of whatever you did.
I've been in the
him.
post office in quite some time, so you just kind of forget that. Okay.
Good, because your
Those-
picture's up there. I think at the very top of the list.
At the very
of
top?
Most wanted, yeah.
Well, look, if you're going to do something,
Do it right.
thank you.
Do it right.
If you're watching on Facebook, you can go to buyliars.com and buy a book. Yeah, you can buy a book and then ask a question if you want. Tyler from Columbus, Ohio, what's the most important thing we can take away from this book, Liars?
Man, I should have read it. I think I think just how evil they are, just how truly, remarkably evil these people are. Pat, you've read it, right?
Yes.
Is that what would you take away from it?
They're definitely evil.
Like remarkably,
And this has all been
Yeah.
done on purpose. It's not by
Yeah.
accident. And they've been planning it a long
Right.
time.
and how it started really. It started something good. It started really, at least my hypothesis is that it starts when Martin Luther nails the list of demands up to the church's
church,
door.
yeah.
All of a sudden, man can do something against even the power of God. And now he didn't look at it that way, but that's where the ball starts to roll, and it just picks up steam. And how these people, how one event in your life, really tragic event, can truly change the course of your life. And for evil, while you think you're doing good. A lot of these guys really thought they were doing good. And they can just never admit it's wrong. Can never admit, oh wow, that didn't work out.
Before we take
I think the
call,
other, hang on just a sec. I think the other thing that I hope people take away is we have to be self-reliant again. We have to recognize what it is that makes us want to say, yes, I want that. I want somebody to take care of me. I want somebody to pay me for this. I want that handout.
that's a common thread through many of the questions. Is people want to know what they can do. Everybody wants to know what they can do.
I am done with the grand plans. Honestly, the only thing left is fix yourself.
And that was the whole premise behind Mercury One.
Yes. Yes.
One person, and then one family.
And I know it doesn't. No, it's honestly the reason why I had that conversation with my kids this weekend was because I spent all day Sunday, and I went to church, and I really listened, and I read the scriptures that we were going to study beforehand, and I know what I got out of them. And then, in fact, I think am I doing a scripture study tomorrow on TV? I better prepare for that. But I know what I got out of it. And then what was being taught was really, really good, but not what I saw. And what I saw in it was we have to humble ourselves, and we have to serve people and love people, especially the ones who hate us and want to stone us, want to kill us. We have to, because it's the only thing that will work. Nobody is going to listen because they're all like this. Both sides are like this. And as I was thinking about it, I realized there's nothing. The scriptures talk about how they would go from town to town, and they were stoned to death. They were mocked. They were spit on. Nobody likes this idea of love. Nobody thinks that's going to work. We need action. It's why Judas betrayed Jesus. You're not the Messiah. The Messiah was going to be a leader. The Messiah wasn't going to be crucified. The Messiah's not going to talk about this love thing. That's great. But when are you going to make the change? And that's human nature. And that's the hardest thing, is trying to convince. I've said this I've said this since September 11th. As long as we have each other, this audience will be the audience that will give this country a chance. It will be the group of people that is the turning point for something. And I so believe in this audience. But I think when we get down to it, I can't make this message commercial anymore. I can't. I don't know how to do it. It's not commercial. And it's going to be very unpopular, because people will say what they said to Martin Luther King, what they said to Gandhi, what they said to Jesus, what they said to Abraham Lincoln, what they said to all of them. Really? And that's going to work? Yeah, it will. Perhaps not in our lifetime, but in our children's lifetime, if we do it. Yes, it will. It will.
So, as long as we're on the topic of love, how's the convention, Pat? How's it going?
Oh, it's lovely.
All right.
You've got a lot of people to love.
Lovely.
If you're commanded to love those who hate you,
Yes.
you've got a lot of people to love.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
Just a quick ruling, and maybe the group could help rule. Pat's earphones don't seem to be in his ears, so I don't know how he's
Well,
hearing
they're in a commercial
the
break right
convention
now.
in which he's
They're
assigned.
in a
You know, I haven't noticed you taking it out either, Pat.
They're in a commercial break, and so they're back now. So
So put that back in.
going right back in.
All right.
Going right back in.
Hey, has anybody watched? I watched CNN the other night, and they didn't make a lot of comments, and I really didn't listen to them anyway. How agonizing is Anderson Cooper in this? Is he pretty fair?
Yeah, he's been.
Yeah.
I watched him. He's been okay.
Why would you assume he's agonizing? I don't think he isn't.
Yeah.
No, because everybody is agonizing.
Right.
Everybody is
Well,
agonizing
but,
right now.
I mean, his panel has been Van Jones and.
Can I tell you
rest of
something?
those.
Here's words Glenn Beck never would come close to saying. He said a couple of things. He's wrong on everything. He said a couple of things very short.
Yeah, Van's there. Good.
You know, he's like, if you stop right now,
Right.
you're okay, which he never does.
No.
But he said a couple of things that I've went, he's right.
I mean,
Van Jones.
it's interesting you say that, because I was thinking the other day of, like, here's a guy who goes into this progressive administration, the Obama administration, and leaves for many reasons. One of which being that they found out that he was a card-carrying communist, and the public pressure was a little bit too much for the administration, so he stepped down. Watching him on CNN now, I think he's a conservative in the party. I don't even think he's to the left. I think he's moderate
Remember
to
when-
conservative in the party. Now, part of this is radical.
Remember when he left? Remember he started being my pen pal for
I do
a while.
remember that.
Yeah.
And I never responded to him, but he was writing to my right-hand man on the staff trying to get to me. And he was studying Ronald Reagan and the Bible. And he was watching Ronald Reagan videos. He's a chameleon. He's a chameleon. So yes, drop the radical pose.
I mean, and maybe that's 100% of it. I don't know. I don't know him well enough, obviously, like you do. But I am amazed when the commentary comes on and they go to the Democrats. He's usually the most sane of the panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. I mean, Van freaking Jones.
Somebody wrote, I saw on
Communist
CNN,
revolution.
it wasn't a kind comment towards me. It said, if it wasn't for that effing Glenn Beck, Van Jones would be in running as president or would be a running mate or somewhere in the next administration and probably be the guy for 2020. I think we stopped that train.
That might be true.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the rising star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering they had to go to Tim Kaine.
And you know what's crazy? I think that was a smart pick.
Oh, I know you like that.
You know, the thing that's really, truly amazing is he's the only guy that left the administration in disgrace.
Yeah.
Nobody else has.
Yeah, that disgrace got him on CNN and MSNBC and Fox.
Everybody else, they didn't stop Lois Lerner. She retired. She stayed there for a long time. She retired. She got full benefits. He's the only one.
Nobody at the VA was disgraced.
Nobody.
For that debacle.
Right.
Yeah,
Nobody.
They learned their lesson with Van. What are we doing?
Right.
We don't need to learn.
If you remember right, he slunk out in the middle of the night on Labor Day weekend.
We don't need to do that to our people. Just let them hang on.
It's a very Trump-esque lesson, by the way. Trump
Yes, it
knows
is.
that lesson pretty well.
That's what's scary, is all of them know that now. I'm not even going to respond to you. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's really scary. When you can have really bad guys, and they're not going to do anything about it. Nobody's going to jail. Susan Sarandon. I don't know. Did you guys see that video I told you about this morning about Susan Sarandon's face? You have to watch this video.
Oh, when she was in the
CNN
audience?
captured her.
Yeah.
You know, Susan Sarandon being captured. That would be nice. Anyway, they captured her face listening to, I think, Hillary or somebody. And she was disgusted, just disgusted, rolling her eyes. I don't know why I'm telling you this story. What were we talking about a second ago?
Well, let's see what, while we're reminding ourselves of what you were actually talking about, we can talk to Holiday Palmer.
Who is this, Michelle?
Holiday.
Holiday.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm doing well.
You're from North Carolina.
Yes. Hey, Glenn, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize your voice at first. Yes, I'm in Raleigh. Originally from New York.
Ooh, sorry for that.
I know.
New York values.
Yeah.
My mom still lives there, and I visit, but it's just,
Yeah.
I love North Carolina, though.
Yeah, North Carolina, both Carolinas. Great. In fact, I'm thinking that maybe you should make a little of Georgia, maybe West Carolina. I'm just saying. Think about it. The idea is free. So what's up?
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I really never thought in a million years I would get a phone call, and I was proven wrong, so.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I've learned so much through you. I was just thinking over the last, 15 years or so, I guess, all the things that you brought to my attention that I had absolutely no idea about. And you opened my eyes pretty much around the same time as I got sober. And it was quite the awakening. And I just want to thank you so much for that.
And
I
now,
feel
how
like
much now, since we're both recovering alcoholics, how much do you regret wasting all of those good blackouts when you could use them now?
Well, some of them I'm really glad they're still black.
Right. I mean, I was drinking really for no reason. Now is the time to drink.
Oh, I know. I think quite often. I got sober for this.
I know.
I wouldn't trade sobriety for anything.
No,
in the
neither
world,
would I.
so
Neither would
bring
I.
it on, you
Yeah.
know, I can take it now.
Thank you. By the way, I don't know if anybody did anybody see the show 5 o'clock today? At 5? You have to go back.
Yes.
If you're a Blaze subscriber, watch just the first 24 minutes. It's a monologue on Russia. No one in the media will touch this. No one in the media will tell you those things. Probably the most important monologue I've done in a year. Really important. Really important. Anyway,
I'll definitely check it out.
okay. So,
Thank you so much.
sure. So what's your question?
My question was, what is the greatest life lesson that you have ever learned?
That's a nice, easy one. Just define the most perfect sentence of your life.
Yeah.
It's probably from
Yeah.
Probably for me.
No, I'm
right?
just
Other-
thinking
I was
there's
gonna
not
say
a
other
lot of
than-
them. I mean, if you could narrow it down. Okay, so
no.
I'll give you two, and they're in the same category.
Okay.
That my wife taught me that we would never make it if we didn't have the same path to God, if we weren't in step and both seeking Him hard in the same fashion, and that we made that a joint trip. I mean, it's individual salvation, but working on it together to keep each other strong. That is one of them. The other is so stupid for most people because they already know this, but I didn't. When I turned 40, I thought to myself, I have wasted my entire life. I haven't done anything of value. When I turned 50, and it might have been even 52 because I think it was in the last year or so, that I actually picked up one of the books, and one of my books has like 3 pages of it's not this one, 3 pages of books that I have written. And we have, it is this, also by Glenn Beck, and it's just 2 on this one. And this doesn't even cover it. And we have 13 #1 New York Times bestsellers, 18 top 5 bestsellers, and they've all been written in the last 12 years. And that came from me at 40 saying, I have to do something of value in this next decade. I've got to turn my life around. Anyway, long story short, it's why I feel the way I do. It's why I feel like I'm 1,000 years old. It's why I've been sick. And the most important thing that I have learned is family is the only thing that matters. I am so in love with all 4 of my children, and I have, it's easy for me to walk out of work now and just go and spend the time with my children, which I've never been like. Tanya has always been like that. I've always been afraid of raising my children. I love it. And it is the only thing, it's the only thing that matters in life is your family. So.
That's awesome. And I love the fact how much you share your family with us, especially on Facebook.
I'll tell you.
You make me smile so often and bring tears to my eyes sometimes. I got to tell you.
Thank
You're
you.
a wonderful example of you and Tanya especially.
Thank you. Thank you very much for saying that. And I'm glad you enjoy it because I know how much our security team loves it too. So thank you. God bless.
And I know you're doing a good job of it, but ignore those haters on Facebook because what you go through is unbelievable.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Millions of us love you, so thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. By the way, Tanya is here, and that's the only reason why I said all that crap about family.
Give her a hug, please.
I will. God bless. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
By the way, Glenn, as you're talking about Russia on the show you did on Russia today, as we're speaking, WikiLeaks has released a bunch of voicemails from DNC staffers. I don't know it's really
They get
early.
into
We
the
don't know what's in
voicemails
them yet.
Nobody is talking about this. This in the 1980s. This would have happened to the DNC or RNC under Reagan. We'd be at war today. This is an act of war. They are meddling. They are stealing from our political parties, and they are releasing them. And they're trying to mess with our political system. This is an act of war. And all the media will do is just talk about, how's the DNC going to survive? How's America going to survive? You guys tonight, if you can, at least listen to the monologue today. It's 24 minutes. Listen to the monologue. We have to talk about it on tomorrow's show. It's scary. It is scary because we've been looking into it for 2 years. We know what all of this means, and I've tied it all together with all of the players and the people in the Trump campaign. I don't think Donald Trump has anything to do with it. However, when he says, I don't have any ties to Russia, I have no economic ties, we don't know that because he hasn't given his tax returns. But when you see the people who are now advising him for this campaign, the people who are around him, they have massive ties directly to Putin.
I mean, Manafort's pretty much.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Bad stuff.
One of the things you say, we're in such trouble. I mean, it's the Democratic National Convention tonight, and Vice President Joe Biden and President Barack Obama speak tonight. And Pat, I'm going to do my darndest to try to catch them. But
Where's your
Are you?
where's your earpiece?
It's right here.
You got to put it in your ear.
No, I can hear it. I can
No,
hear it
you
from
really
here.
can. Okay, Pat has to watch another night.
Well, the
I'm
only night
sure-
left is tomorrow, so I'll have to do that for me.
I'm sure we're going to be told that
This is wrong.
the country's never been better. Our allies have never been closer, and everything is fine. So those of you watching
Yeah.
on Facebook live streaming, go to buyliars.com, and you can buy a book and ask a question if you'd like. Coming from Mary Patterson in Missouri,
I'm Missouri.
how much research and how long of a turnaround does it take to release one of your books?
From if we worked overtime, which we usually do, it takes us at least a year. It should take us 3 years, but we're always behind the 8 ball. But right now, I'm working on. I've already formulated, and we have probably 4 books on our list to do. Just came up with another one tonight that we'll start doing research, and that might be 3-4 years before we ever release that one, if we do it. So, from time of conception, I don't know. There's one book that I started writing when my oldest kids were 3, and I've got it written. Now it has to go back and we actually have to. I write differently. Research. We had 5 people, I think, that were full-time researchers on this book for almost a year. So
Amazing. I look up. I'm sorry. Watching Leon Panetta waddle out to the podium at the convention. I'm sorry, Pat. I don't mean to be taking your job from you.
No,
he could be a
all right.
Peter Sellers character, could he not?
He definitely could be. He definitely. and
When
there
Peter
was some-
Sellers played that pirate, in the Pink Panther, he kind of looked like that.
kind of. Yeah, kind of.
So one of the questions from Kenneth Packer, which is actually you've kind of answered that it's very difficult now that you've had the meeting, the Sunday dinner with the family that want to go to the ranch. But how do you get the courage to continue each day, knowing that common sense has left our government? Has it left it? I don't think it's left it completely yet, has
Is
it?
it there?
Yes.
Completely?
It's
Uh,
on the
yes.
moon
100%.
at this point.
Yes.
100%
Are you
left.
kidding me?
Common
Common
sense?
sense in our government?
There's still some left.
No, there
Where?
There's still fighters in
No,
there.
Ted.
Yeah.
Cruz.
Okay. Ted Cruz, Mike Lee.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
You got like 3 people in government with
Yeah.
common sense.
No, it's gone. And it's been gone for a long time. You know what amazes me? And I bet you guys will agree with this, that we wouldn't have agreed with definitely 8 years ago, but maybe 5 years ago. We actually thought we could save it.
Mm-hmm.
This has been over for so long. I've been thinking about, I think I said this on the other day, what the Soros guy told us. The ship has sailed. There's no turn. It's not turning. It's not going back to that port. It's sailed. You're either on it or you're off. There was no saving this. Unless the people really magically had principles. We could have saved it, but we didn't realize how far the American people were gone. They're just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Just gone. And so get the
So you mean-
courage to know every day, to get up every day. I don't know if it's courage as much as it is just.
Habit.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't think I would be doing this. I don't think I would be doing this. And Pat, you know me well enough to know. If it wasn't for my change at baptism and my conversion to the gospel, I don't think I'd be doing this. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing, and it's the biggest struggle I have right now, because I know the answer is to be much more clear on that, and but it's not commercial at all, and it won't go anywhere. I will kill the message, and any chance we have of fixing it, I'm convinced, because it's so unpopular. But that's my biggest struggle, is I can't leave because I haven't done everything I can, and I just can't figure out the way to make it work, and I don't know how to solve that. But if it wasn't for God, I would be.
Any idea what you would be doing? Selling RVs?
No, you know what? If I didn't believe in God, I think I would have caved and just would have went along with the crowd. I think I just would have been like, I mean, I wouldn't have these jobs if I had, because that's what made us, is we didn't do that. But
It's a lot easier to do that.
oh my gosh, it's so much easier.
But I mean, what you're talking about is like, did we have a chance to save it? Well, maybe if the people had principles. I mean, well, if we did the one thing our founders asked us to do to keep the republic afloat, if we did that one thing, we paid attention, we were diligent, we actually followed what was going on, we remembered what was in the Constitution, we stayed
They
stuck by
move.
it.
That's the genius of progressivism. That's the genius of these people. They moved it so slowly. They lulled us into they couldn't do what LBJ did in 1920. They couldn't do it in 1945. They couldn't do what Barack Obama did in 1968. I mean, healthcare was the #1 thing on Teddy Roosevelt's list. They've never been able to do it. They had to take it apart one piece at a time.
It's like when you eat an entire cow,
You can't.
you can't fit the whole thing in your
Yeah,
mouth.
how do you eat an entire cow? One piece at a time, one bite at a time.
I mean, yes. So.
No, I'm just trying to relate it to you.
Oh,
Speaking
thank
of
you.
follow-
So, the new book, Liars. What's your favorite lie? Favorite lie in the new book?
I like you.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about the book. That's in
Oh, about the book.
the book.
Oh,
I like you. I like you too.
I don't think I have a favorite lie. I mean, I have favorite stories in the book. I don't like the lies or the liars. I don't know if you get the point of this book. I like the story. I love the stories about prohibition because nobody knows them.
everyone thinks prohibition was done by conservatives
Yeah,
who didn't
sure
want
do.
to
Not at
drink or
all.
have fun.
No.
Exact opposite.
I
Done by
mean-
progressives.
It was done by the
Eventually,
religious.
Everybody was on board. Everybody was on board by the end of it.
Everybody.
You know, the progressives pushed it in the beginning, but conservatives, Democrats, Republicans,
It was the
religious,
Christians.
non-religious, pretty much everybody was on board by the time. I mean, they
You have
passed
to
that thing in a year and a half.
It's amazing.
You ha-
18 months. Do you know how hard it is to pass a constitution?
But you know what the problem is? Think about a world without AA. Think about the world without AA.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, I'm a guy. You were in the world. At the time, because of progressives, they bought into eugenics and everything else. They thought if you were a drunk, you were flawed on every level. You could not be a good person.
Yeah.
Okay? You were flawed on it. You were fundamentally designed wrong. So imagine without AA, and at the time, you know what the cure was for, around the turn of the century, around 1910, Bayer, the aspirin people, came up with the cure for alcoholism. Not kidding, heroin.
that'll do
heroin.
it, right, Jeffy?
You just
I
take.
mean, I don't know why you say that like it's a bad.
I know. You just take a couple of heroin pills a few times a day,
I love 'em,
and within 3 months, you won't have the desire to drink anymore.
I bet it's true.
Okay, that was really the cure.
You truly don't get those days back.
No, those days don't come back.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's not hard to understand in a world where families. Look how many families are torn apart by alcoholism now.
Yeah.
with no recovery.
Oh, it's true. I mean, I'm unique in one way. I'm the only person in America who watched the Ken Burns Prohibition documentary. But
I would have liked that.
oh, you actually would. It's great if you don't mind being incredibly bored. I can recommend you, if you actually want to read about the Prohibition thing, read Liars.
What is it, 119 hours?
119 hours. But it's a fascinating era to me.
Hour documentary.
Prohibition.
But one of the things that was one of the reasons it got put past so fast was because the domestic abuse problem was so
It was high.
insane. Every husband was going out, drinking and getting drunk, coming home and hitting their wives, and there
That's
weren't
why it
laws
was
against
women.
domestic abuse, or what they were doing. So they got to that point, but they got to that point in such a weird, progressive way that many people, after the amendment had been passed, still believed they were going to be able to go out and drink beer the next day, because they had said liquor so many times, they just assumed beer would still be fine. And as soon as they figured that out, many of them immediately switched, because they still wanted to drink something, just not hard
Right.
liquor, because that was what was bad.
That was the devil's brew.
Yeah, exactly. It's an amazing period of history.
It is.
Nobody knows.
It is.
Unless you read something like Liars, you're not going to know that it's
And
progressive.
the facts
but
on
largely
and the
respectable.
facts on this, the stories on Prohibition, never heard him before.
Oh my gosh, no.
Never heard him before.
Fascinating.
I mean, this book is one of those that will actually make you the life of the party if you're a good storyteller, because nobody will know these stories. And you start telling them, everybody like, wait, what?
No.
Everyone will have their Google out.
Yep. From Brian in Minnesota, listening to truth from you can cause anxiety and stress levels to go through the roof. Have you ever thought of starting a therapist I trust, like you did with Realtors I Trust?
If you think you're stressed out, try being me.
I went to all of these therapists because I needed it. And I've tested them out myself, and that's why I can recommend therapists that
Who's going to trust a therapist that I recommend when they're listening to me and they know how screwed up I am? They're like, well, write him off.
Failed. Yeah. Again, Pat, I see your headphones out of your ears.
I mean, someone
Tom
is
Panetta
speaking.
is-
They're not.
I mean, doesn't he have to pick up a couple speeches tomorrow, Glenn?
They're chanting, Pat. You are responsible for the stuff tomorrow.
Yeah,
And it's not like he's working hard and
I
talking.
don't know if you guys are aware of this. There's a new thing called DVR.
Oh, really? I'll call you
Oh,
at
do that.
midnight tonight while you're still up watching.
whole thing again.
Nobody
records
believes this.
programs on television, and you can watch it later after the fact.
No one believes you're going home and watching the Leon Panetta speech on DVR. Nobody
No,
believes it.
I think
No
I'm all
way.
set with the Leon Panetta speech. But maybe I pick up the Barack Obama speech.
You got to get Barack. He's tonight. Who else is tonight? Do you know?
Yes, Bloomberg.
Biden. Oh, yeah.
Biden,
Bloomberg's a, sort of a,
Kane.
is Bloomberg a late addition?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
think
'cause
so. I think
they were
so,
saying
'cause I
that
hadn't heard that he was going to be part until recently.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, they're saying one of the things he's going to try to do tonight is talk about, because Gary Johnson's at 13%, try to get those people that don't want either to go to Hillary, which is no surprise from Bloomberg. But the guy used to be a Republican at one point.
By the way, I talked to Gary Johnson today. He's like, you guys, I'll come on. Yeah, I will come on anytime. And I'm like, you better talk to your people about that.
Yeah.
But we have to have him on because I really disagree with him on a couple of things that he talked
big
about.
time.
Big time.
No doubt about it.
He's not my favorite guy.
No, but
No, not at all.
he's very
He's
seemingly
very progressive when it comes to religion, and I want to talk to him about it. He is not
And
libertarian
a
when
couple
it
of
comes to
things.
religion.
Yep. He's pro-choice. He's a big drug guy. He's a big open borders guy. He's
But those are all very libertarian.
He's not-
This is
Yeah, they
not
are.
libertarian. His view on religion is not libertarian. 1 minute.
really.
Nope.
1 minute, so you can, don't forget to get the book, Liars, Glenn Beck, Liars. You can get it at glennbeck.com/liars. We can tell you thanks for being with us tonight. I also, thank you. Thank you.
Straight hell.
Look forward to the convention wrap from Pat as he goes home tonight and watches the DVR.
DVR. Yes, it's a new thing.
And I'll let you end the night for the last 30 seconds, Glenn. You can tell us whether there's going to be another event after since Restoring Unity was last year, and
We have an announcement on a big event coming up that I don't even know if you guys are aware of, that we're going to announce here in a couple of weeks. You know what the event is. I've wanted to do it for years. and we're going to announce that very soon. The museum is next week, and the book, I'll be here tonight signing these books, so just order your book, and I will sign it for you tonight. We'll see you tomorrow on the radio.